camp on this date in 1776, rotund American patriot Henry Knox came to the end of a promise he had made to George Washington to do the impossible. Knox was a Bostonian. He owned a bookstore. It was a hangout for early seekers of freedom, and he read every book in the store on warfare. So when George Washington came to Boston, he had to meet him. He soon became a friend of the general's, who used Knox to carry out a variety of special missions. But when Knox overheard Washington say that America would lose the war if it didn't have some cannon, Knox remembered that there was a slew of artillery sitting idle at Fort Ticonderoga, which had been captured from the British by Benedict Arnold and Ethan Allen just a year before. He offered to go to Fort Ty, and he would find a way to get the cannon back to Boston. Before Washington could talk him out of the idea, for a variety of reasons, Knox headed north. And when I say headed north, I mean headed north. Fort Ticonderoga was about, 160 air miles from Boston, but on the ground it was a 300-mile trek before highways. To make matters worse, most of New England was buried in drifts of snow. Knox had his work cut out for him. When he got to the fort, he came up with the idea of putting the cannon on sleds, then using animal power, dragging them to Boston. Knox arrived at Washington's camp on this date in 1776, 2 months after he had started. He served bravely in the Revolution, and in 1789, George Washington, the new president, named Henry Knox the first Secretary of War. Knox lived until 1806, but died in bankruptcy. I'm Dennis Staley.